Welcome to the Dirty Verdict Podcast, where your hosts, trial lawyers Kyle Herbert and Bill Ogden, and mediator Peter Taff, talk with interesting lawyers and break down recent legal news in detail. Here's Kyle, Bill, and Peter.
All right. Welcome back to another edition of the Dirty Verdict Podcast. I'm full-time mediator Peter Taff.
I am full-time rap artist Kyle Herbert.
And I'm Bill Ogden. I am above average at pretty much everything.
Maybe.
I'll take that. I'll accept that.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
We have a lot going on in the world. We have a lot going on in the world.
Yeah. August is a busy, late July, early August, busy in the legal news stories. I guess it's the heat wave.
Days of summer, making people cray.
So we're going to lead off with kind of a drop where we left off at our last episode, and that is fan favorite Taco Bell. As you'll recall, last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about incident where a security guard assaulted someone with a bag of Taco Bell.
And then tased him.
Well, pushed him.
Her or him. I'm not sure what the victim was.
Yeah. Second step was push, and then the third was, I don't know if it was tase or just the sound of the tase.
I think Taco Bell is the Waco, Texas of fast food restaurants.
I want you guys to know that I have been biding my time to treat you guys to a dinner. I know that we've talked about Chick-fil-A. We've talked about Arby's. We've been talking about McDonald's nuggets. And we were talking about Taco Bell. I had Taco Bell lined up for tonight, but then my assistant was like, it's going to be soggy by the time Peter shows up. So I think we need to make an executive decision at some point, and I will, or maybe we do all of them. We do Arby's with the cheese sauce, the Taco Bell, the nuggets, all at once, like a feast.
Or we could buy a Taco Bell as the Dirty Verdict and just open it up here.
Rename it.
Not a terrible idea.
Just put it on the whiteboard.
Well, okay, so we're going to have to be careful at Taco Bell, according to plaintiff Mr. Siragusa in New York, who sued Taco Bell for misrepresenting the size of several of its menu items, including the Mexican pizza.
What?
Is this Tony Siragusa?
I don't think so. I
think he passed away.
R.I.P.
Yeah, former nose guard for the Ravens. This fellow is named Frank.
Okay.
Spelled the same.
Frankie
Siragusa. So he says, look, the menu items, which include the Crunchwrap Supreme, the Grand Crunchwrap with an E on the end of it, and the Veggie Mexican Pizza have overstated the amount of filling by at least double the amount, according to the lawsuit.
Wow.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm pretty sure that's the Grande.
Is it Grande? That's why the E's on there? I was using, I guess, maybe the French.
You're
a grand.
The Royale cheese.
The French are known for giving half portions of meat inside of Taco Bell items.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's an epidemic.
So there's some pictures on the CNN story. I don't know if Josh puts the links up, but if so, you will see the one on Taco Bell's website looks tantalizing, Kyle. Look at that.
That looks pretty amazing.
Okay, so
but to be fair, it never looks like that.
Look at that. And then here's the picture that Mr. Siragusa. Does that look more?
I got to say, normally I feel like these bad advertising cases for food and drink are nonsense.
Oh, sorry. This is the plaintiff's version of what it looks like.
All right. Pay that goose.
But here's my question, if I may. And if I'm the defendants, this is the question I'm going to ask the jury.
You mean if you're Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is this. Is more Taco Bell in your body by volume a good thing?
Yeah, aren't they kind of mitigating their damages?
Yeah, you've already made the bad decision of going to Taco Bell.
Those choices were made long before you got there.
Assumption of the risk. Now, is more Taco Bell by volume as part of your chemical makeup? Is that what you need in life?
I'm telling you, the next morning you were glad that it was a much smaller portion.
He got mad at us last time we talked about that Jack Daniels bottle one.
Right.
Now he's doing it. Yeah.
Now the bait is on the other.
Benedict Arnold shows himself.
The bait is on the hook. Okay, so the lawyers are James Kelly and Anthony Russo, and they're no strangers to suing fast food restaurants. They've sued Burger King for overstating the size of their Whoppers.
Wait, this has to be a very lucrative racket, and I'm going to get into it.
Why aren't we into this?
Well, the door is open for y'all. So that's
it out because we eat there
all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, my question to get to substance is, okay, maybe the one time he went, whoever made the Taco Grande didn't do a good job. But how do you prove that's the consistent pattern
So
practice?
I know a guy that had a similar thing, and they actually hired people all over the country to go and buy the specific food item. And then there's a statutory way of weighing it. So I assume that's probably what they do.
That's bizarre. But hey, if somebody's out there bringing these lawsuits and you need someone to go buy and consume Taco Bell, I'm not hard to find.
Yeah, Kyle is signing up for that fast group.
Track me down. You know what we should do? We should go to the steakhouses, right? Like Pappas Brothers. They advertise an 8-ounce steak. I get it. I get it. That's the weight before cooking. But do you think they're being honest? Because if I could get paid in Pappas Brothers vouchers or Steak 48 vouchers or even Perry's vouchers.
Texas Roadhouse?
I mean,
no, we got those.
You don't think that this frame could carry another 100 pounds, but maybe it could.
I don't know. 4 years ago with 2 good knees, maybe.
Maybe.
It's a strong maybe.
Okay, well, no, I'm down with that, or down with just going to check it out and taking a little. You got those little scales you use for other purposes, right?
that is absolute slander.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be willing. I'd be willing to do a tour of Texas steakhouses to weigh these. I mean, that's kind of interesting.
We'll go set up, and we'll just each show is at a different steakhouse, and we weigh the food.
We could also get like the 10-ounce for me, the 8-ounce for you, and the 4-ounce for him.
Senior senior size.
And see, well, the other thing is Pete eats dinner at like 4:30 in the afternoon.
Of
course, that's when.
So we got to go earlier.
It's very cheap.
But we could see. This is what I'm curious about. Are they discriminating against people of different sizes? Like, are they gypping people at the 10-ounce more than they are the people at the 4-ounce?
I mean, think weight is a protected class, but I see where you're going with this. I'm not against it.
Yeah.
All right, I want to move a little rapid fire
Lay it on us
this week because there's a lot of news stories. The next one kind of is in line with this. Tommy Fibich, I think, predicted this, and that is
Ozempic.
Ozempic and Mounjaro have been sued by the Morgan & Morgan law firm, who has
Juggernaut of a firm.
Largest plaintiffs firm in the country. Is that right? Yeah.
They have to have 2,000s of plaintiffs' attorneys at this point.
And according to John Morgan, they're looking to grow a lot, including in Texas. So they have filed what may be the first one. It was filed in Louisiana. They are saying that there's some side effects. The case focuses on something called gastroparesis, and it is defined as a severe form of delayed gastric emptying. And so I will defer to you guys on how you translate that into layperson terms.
Translate it into a sound, not words, and it's just a clunk. Is this how it would be translated?
I mean, is that constipation?
That sounds like it.
Is constipation delayed?
Looking at me, Pete. Why are you not looking at Kyle? I mean, it's 50-50 here. You went to me.
Because I'm chubby and you're skinny, and we know what Ozempic does.
So, of course...
I have a friend who's on the Ozempic, and I asked him, what does it do?
Doxin.
And
name.
And he...
No, I don't do it.
You got real close.
His name is Judge... No, I'm just kidding. So here's the deal. Apparently, it makes you so constipated that it upsets your stomach so you won't eat anymore. Now, look, I don't know if that's true.
That's how it works? Like, that's how it's designed?
Yeah, I mean, I think he said the thing about Ozempic is he's like, it's 10% like appetite suppressant and 90% makes you so nauseous from eating that you don't want to eat ever. And I don't, like I said, this is secondhand. Don't sue me, Ozempic. But I mean, that's what he says it does. And because, like, I want to be more skinny and beautiful. And so I asked, like, is this a good idea? And he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, he's like, it made my stomach and my small intestine feel really uncomfortable.
I'm really glad you went scientific on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a long delay, too. Were you looking?
Right. I was like,
you know, in a previous episode, we talked about some parts of the female anatomy in a very scientific way, and I'm pretty sure that got cut. So I'm just trying to learn. I'm trying to make new mistakes, right? I don't want to make old mistakes. I want to make new mistakes.
Our advisor advised us to tread carefully on this subject, so we're going to follow that advice.
Yeah. I mean, it does. I mean, Tommy Fibich on this show, so, you know, people that are looking for hard-hitting current events, nary a month ago said No such thing as a safe weight loss drug. There's going to be side effects.
Yeah, we saw it with Fen, and we saw it with all the ephedrine pre-workout drinks.
Yep.
And now I see it now.
So, Bill, I mean, I think you've opined on this as far as FDA approvals. So when they got this approved, as I understand it, there's a whole process about what has to be warned and what's in the black box or whatever.
So there's the pre-market I don't know if they're a PMA or not. Pre-market approval is where they go through and they do all the testing and go through all the different levels of it. Or they can use sometimes you can bootstrap medical. I'm not even sure if you can do it with pharmaceutical, but you can bootstrap to similar products and go through a 510K. But most of the time that's devices. But I know that they're not using it to fight diabetes. That's what it was designed for and tested for. So everything they're using
Pronounced diabetes.
Off label. That's where you get into trouble. And then the generic version, FDA came out with something that said, we don't know what the compounds are in this. This is not regulated. So
it's voodoo.
If you're not taking the name brand, we can't guarantee what's in it.
Okay. Well, so here they're saying that both of the drugs have warnings that talk about nausea, diarrhea, decreased appetite, vomiting, constipation, indigestion, stomach, abdominal pain. And then they also both specifically warn of gastric emptying, whatever that is. So, I mean, is that just hearing that, are you thinking this is an uphill battle?
I think it's an uphill battle in most pharma cases, but here for the first time, you don't really it's not really an epidemiology problem on it. It's just kind of how is it designed and what's it do, and did you warn for it correctly? So, but if you you start getting into some of the federal statutes, you fight preemption. That's a hard one. So that's another. But then your generics are still on.
What's the drug company? Is it?
It is. I think
Makes Ozempic.
Novo Nordisk.
Okay.
So,
I will say this: it's effective.
Yeah, I mean,
people are losing weight on it at the cost of their health, but hey, Instagram photos look better.
I have several friends that are taking it, and they've been successful. And I haven't heard any side effects. But
there's no Ozempic side effect that feels as bad as being fat.
No, there you go. Okay. All right.
Or so I hear.
Obese, I believe, is the term we have to use, Kyle.
That will be a lawsuit to monitor because it is a very prevalent drug and a lot of potential people in the class.
Oddly enough, I saw Morgan & Morgan was the official law firm of UFC. There was like a UFC fight on in the background last weekend, and I saw Morgan & Morgan at the bottom. I was like, what? I mean, it's just creative.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, they know what they're doing is on advertising.
Well, every time I'm like, man, I need a lawyer. Better rent the pay-per-view UFC fight. That they'll get me where I need to go.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, no one probably spends more money to analyze where a good place to advertise is.
That's fair.
Okay, let's go to some verdicts. Friend of the show, Jane Legier of the Ferguson Law Firm obtained a $53.3 million verdict in a New Mexico industrial explosion case tried in San Miguel County, New Mexico. Not sure exactly what city is there. Maybe Bill knows. Bill.
I don't know what city it is. Jane's a friend of mine. Her and I worked close together on the TPC explosion in Port Neches, and she is the most terrifying woman of all time because, she is no bullshit, and she is a workhorse, but also the smartest person in the room. And so every conference call as a joke, they'd be like, what's everybody think? And I would just chime in immediately and be like, well, I'm with whatever Jane says. And so I've kind of given her this persona that I'm terrified of her. She's very sweet, and she said she'd be honored to come on and talk about it. So she'll be up in a couple weeks.
Honored might be an overstatement.
That's what I said.
So
for the internet's only legal podcast, appropriate, right? Where else is she going to go?
Yeah.
So this was, there was a explosion. 3 oil field workers were killed. And so there's more. I mean, she's going to tell us more when she comes on. But she noticed that reviewing employee files, she noticed employees were given grades of 100% on true-false tests where they had answered both true and false to the same question. So that kind of stuff.
They did get the answer right.
That's true. So lesson to lawyers out there is when you are produced a bunch of documents, good idea to read them and actually kind of try to analyze them, and it actually may work out for you.
Every once in a while. There's just so many documents, you know.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to read.
We get paid to lead, not to read.
So anyhow, faced with an approaching jury trial, the company admitted fault, leaving only the damages to be determined. And that's when the $53.3 million verdict came down.
What county?
Chicken shit. I think they should put the costs immediately when they do that.
Yeah. So 3 deaths, I'm sure several other injuries. So yeah, the Ferguson firm out of Beaumont has had, this is not the first major verdict and or settlement. So we look forward to hearing from Jane when she comes on to talk about.
Is this Chip Ferguson's from?
Yeah, it's Chip. Mark Sparks is out there. He's a
Maybe Chip will join us too.
Chip's a good guy too.
Chip, if you're out there, we are looking for an official sponsor. And so far as we know, UFC's already taken.
But they're not a legal podcast because we're the only one.
Obviously.
Yeah.
In our opinion.
So yeah, Chip, when I worked for Jefferson Fisher's great-grandfather, we talked about him last time.
Dang, B, how old are you?
50, turned 52 on Saturday. Sunday.
Hold on.
Wait a second.
You turned 52?
Wait a tick.
Peter, was it your birthday?
It was last Sunday.
What did you and your family, your wonderful family, do to celebrate?
We had there was a very nice party that we went to Saturday night that I carried it over into the early morning hours of my birthday. And
was it a party for your birthday?
no, it was a
That's called a bad friend.
yeah, it was a debutante party in Austin.
It's
So-
less friend.
You're supposed to come out as a debutante way before 52.
Well, I mean, they do sometimes have the elderly debutante party.
And so there was a party thrown not in your honor,
No,
but you were there hanging out with debutante.
my son's special friend was one of the.
A special lady friend?
It was one of the.
How old is she?
She's probably 19, 20. I'm a sophomore
Nope.
or going to be a junior.
Okay.
This is dangerous water for you. Don't even comment.
But she was one of the debutantes, I guess.
Yeah,
So-
I think we
Oh, you subjecting her to just labels like debutante? That's
well, I don't.
This is debutante.
we didn't hear you say her name.
No, she's a very nice young lady. So I walked her down, and then she had supposed to be my son was supposed to be her formal escort, but he is in the middle of fall football camp, and so had to practice that night, so wasn't able to do it. So
Did anybody throw a party for you, Pete?
I treated this as a party for me, and it was a damn good
This podcast
party.
or the party, the debut.
The debutante party.
Well, speaking of,
Well, Pete, we just wanted to make sure you had a wonderful birthday.
My gosh, Kyle, this is
Happy birthday to Pete.
Thank you. Let me
Happy
hold on.
birthday.
Let me shoot up my Ozempic real quick.
you gotta plug up.
Let me wish.
We gotta plug up.
Happy birthday, Pete.
So world peace is on our way if my wish is granted.
Well, I just want you
Thank
guys
you,
to know that we got that. This is actually baked with love and Ozempic.
Perfect. All right, this is my little shot. I'll put it right in.
Yeah,
Fusion.
You can shoot up with Ozempic right now. Maybe I don't know when you want to slice this up now, Pete. You want to wait?
Yeah, let's not do it on air.
All right.
I may not be that
Yeah,
clean.
he's a dirty eater.
He's a filthy ant.
Just falls out.
Yeah.
So okay.
Homeless people could survive on what falls off his face.
So I don't want to talk about a terribly negative story. So right after you guys were so nice to do that for me. Yeah.
Talk about Lizzo.
No, I'm going to give you a present, Kyle, for my birthday.
Sets him up, I spike him down.
I'm going to talk about your favorite town,
We're talking about Waco, Texas.
Waco, Texas,
Texas.
Ship clap.
and Bill's second favorite Chip Gaines, and Joanna.
Not Chris Gaines to be confused with the great Chris Gaines.
So a Colorado woman injured in a bathroom incident at the Magnolia silos 2 years ago, probably maybe 1 year and 364 days ago, filed a lawsuit against the popular downtown Waco tourist destination.
That's playing fast and loose with the word pop.
Time out. Waco's tourist destinations. Come check out some silos.
I guess so. I've never been to any of these. I'm sure if they're involved.
Nuclear missiles in there. What I mean, with like this used to be full of rice. Like what's in there?
Well, if you think about the limited Chamber of Commerce options that Waco has, like you got Branch Davidians, right? You got Ken Starr's house and whatever was in his basement.
There.
I don't know what else you got going for you. Coach Art Briles' former locker room. What else? What do you else?
The stadium is really cool. The football stadium.
It's not exactly in season right now, but
It's getting there. We're in camp.
we are.
That's coming down the road. Texas will play there this year. So here's the lawsuit though. The plaintiff allegedly suffered facial injuries and an arm injury when an overfilled paper towel dispenser door detached from the wall unit hit her on the forehead, ridge of the nose, left eye, and arm in August of 21.
That's why I'm always extremely careful when I'm approaching one of those danger traps.
That's why I don't go to the bathroom in public.
I pull out napkins, kind of flinching,
Gently,
just in case.
ever so gently.
So I guess if you make the dangerous decision to overfill a paper towel dispenser door, I mean, you're playing with nuclear waste at that
How
point.
dare you?
Did the thing is it like rocket hinge blows off into your face or what?
It could be, or maybe there's a.
The artist formerly known as her face. Maybe I shouldn't have one.
Do you have pictures of this girl before and after?
No, we don't have that yet.
Crazy.
The case was just filed. Of course, it happened in August of 21, so they got in just under the wire.
And this is a female plaintiff.
Yes, from Colorado. So she's there just checking out.
She flew all the way there to see the silos.
So this poor woman's life, even before that, had to be pretty.
No, Colorado's pretty pleasant.
No, but
I'd love to be there right now.
she was like,
But they walk around with just dirty hands.
I'm going to Waco.
Of getting napkins to wash them in the bathroom.
I'll say this: if a young lady can't get a fair trial in McLennan County, where can she get a fair trial?
Mm-mm.
That is true. I mean, everyone in Waco loves the games, I assume.
It's almost as though that town is controlled by a small cabal of powerful people.
Oh, well, we'll see. Kyle, I'm on a constant, every week, all I do is look for Waco stories, and I'm usually successful.
Keep grinding, Pete. We appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna go into one, and I want to do it early.
Wait, time out. Let's backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a slight chance that this woman was actually pretty jacked up from this event. And in the event, we don't know all the facts of how this, Jack in the Box of napkins popped out and through the door.
Oh, yeah.
Her and
Smashed face. That's terrible.
She might be hurt, so we're not trying to make light of this, but
No, I mean, it's an interesting premises type case.
interesting. That's a great adjective.
Because I promise you, there's maybe no other case where a paper towel dispenser was allegedly overfilled, causing the door to snap open into someone's face. And that's a lot of stuff.
And an arm injury. Let's not forget, it was multiple to the body.
Maybe there's a falling down.
Because the door just started ricocheting all around like a ninja star.
Yeah. So
The facts just keep getting worse.
it was that's an interesting one. All right, we're gonna go to one. We're not breaking any news here because I saw it on every morning show when it came out. 3 of Lizzo's former dancers, and that is University of Houston former flute player and international star Lizzo.
Who we've talked about several times.
Yeah, again, if you're going to talk about people that have a high, whatever the PR rating, the gains of, oh no. Bill, you got a problem here.
That is not a problem. That is an opportunity.
That is an opportunity for Josh to do some editing quick.
This is all I'm saying.
Josh is writing out his notepad.
Josh, edit this to be floating
Zoom in
front of Pete's face.
I'm not concerned so much about Lizzo as I am making sure
Those are some healthy bananas.
that everybody on the podcast gets all the potassium they need.
We don't need you cramping, Peter.
Take one and pass them down.
I don't have to Ozempic before bananas, I don't think.
I get really jealous with my potassium supply. So get in there, kids.
This is a healthy, European banana.
You got to eat this one today, otherwise
Lizzo likes.
it's gonna be stale by tomorrow.
Okay, so Lizzo, as I was saying before the props came in the room, probably the gains and Lizzo are at the very top of what is it, EQ, or what's the rating that stars get to show how favorable they are and they get more money for advertising? There's some term for that. She's got to be at the top because everyone loves Lizzo, loves the story. She's accused by some former dancers in her show of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. A lawsuit filed, I believe, last Tuesday. Okay, I got to walk a little line. This is
here. I'll walk it for you.
This is NBC.
A prior quote. Oh, you say the facts, and then I'll give you the quote from a couple years ago.
Okay, I'm going NBC, and so I'm only saying what they said, which is they also alleged she pressured one of them to touch a nude performer at an Amsterdam club and subjected the group to an excruciating audition that after leveling false accusations that they were drinking on the job, which is not something any of us do. All right, Bill.
This is not a job. This is a pleasure.
Yeah.
So prior to the events that gave rise to this lawsuit, Lizzo was heard saying, and I quote, oh shoot, just lost my place. I'm trying to go to the show where you eat the banana out and this is where you choose your own adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes on to say, someone says, which one is that? Is that the banana bar? And then she says, I need my potassium, if you know what I mean. And that's a quote, and that's from hiphopdx.com, so nobody can sue me.
You're just reading that? All right.
So Lizzo created a hostile work environment with some grueling rehearsals, and then what's the rest of the story?
Well, there's some things where she was allegedly fat shaming some of her dancers, which is, there's the news stories are that's ironic because she's really embraced the fact that she's larger and, there's nothing to be ashamed of for that. And that's just how she is. And she embraces that. So they're noting the irony there, as Bill said, and this is everything you just said is in the NBC News story about the bananas and where they may have been different times. So just a lot of just crazy stuff on tour that these particular plaintiffs felt were not optional kind of things to participate in. They were required and made them very uncomfortable, among other things.
So Lizzo came out against this and said that they were sensationalizing the facts and that she was hurt by them. But Lizzo fans have a great memory, because what I just read to you was actually from 2019. And she said it to, obviously, DJ Frank Van der Linde.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody listens to 3FM radio show. And when she said she showed interest in visiting Amsterdam's red light district, going to the banana bar where bananas are eaten out of women's orifices. That is a direct quote as well. hiphopdx.com can't sue me.
Interesting.
And well, the NBC story says similar things about what's alleged in the lawsuit. And of course, we're just repeating what's alleged in a lawsuit according to a very well-known.
Are we?
I got to say, this whole banana situation is much less appetizing now that I know the facts.
Yeah.
There is a lot of stuff going on. She's, of course, denied it. I think a lot of people have come out in her favor. So I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, are saying this is just a money grab or a hub grab for the ladies and their lawyers. What say y'all?
I say this is Trump, Hillary again. This is going to divide the country.
Yep. Right now,
wars get started over things like
just when we started to heal, right? Now we have this whole banana circus.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, and what she's discriminating against American bananas. Why she got to be in Amsterdam?
You guys ever been to Amsterdam?
No.
Good answer, Pete. That was a trap question. I'm not
exactly.
I'm thinking
Amsterdam, Iowa.
No. Oh. Amsterdam, and to be honest, I don't know what country Amsterdam's in.
The Netherlands.
The Dutch, the Walloons. I don't know where it is. Near France-ish, maybe. I don't know. My initial thought is, ew.
That's your initial thought?
Yeah.
Mine was, I'll be damned.
And then my next thought is, I don't want to eat these bananas anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's right here, and I keep kind of putting my finger on it. Kind of, yeah.
And
it's just, let me ask you this as trial lawyers. If you read through the story, it is like they are airing every single grievance they had with her.
Oh, yeah, they were keeping a log.
So don't you, if you're trying the case, you want it to be 50 different things that she did that bothered you, ranging from bothered you to greatly upset you, or are you want to just
on
hit 5?
On this, I think you bring in all 50 because at some point, the jury's going to focus on the worst 5 anyways. But if you stack them up for 2 weeks, it's just so much. So it's hard to defend when there's 5. You can defend 5.
The flip side of that, though, is that if you're listing 47 instances of perhaps distasteful but not illegal behavior,
I think it's still a hostile work environment because we're in employment.
That's what you're complaining about. Like, I think when there's an incident of any sort of sexual assault or impropriety, if you have real specifics of the event, that's good and appropriate to put. But I mean, like, if you list a whole bunch of other stuff that's not necessarily relevant, and I haven't read the petition, so I don't know.
They might have wrote the petition in a way to do exactly what it's doing, which is create buzz. And then by the time they tried the case, they focus on some of the worst ones, I guess, or drop some that they can't prove. But I mean,
I would say this.
I think it's an uphill battle for the defense.
One of the nice things about this, it reminds me, the dirty verdict, we have never had a complaint from any of our dancers. General contractors, staff dancers, our entire stage show is OSHA compliant and complaint free and no accidents so far as I know.
I can neither confirm nor deny there's an open investigation into some of your conduct.
Yeah, we got a target letter yet?
No target letter yet.
Leotard letter maybe, but not a target letter.
No, when we to be clear, we do not yet have any kind of, it's just us 3. So the extent there is dancing.
Now they all think we're weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's only us dancing. So I haven't made any, I've made no complaints against either of you.
What would you complain about? You're welcome.
The public was asking, like, is it more than just y'all 3? How they know?
This is solid.
Well, I'm talking about dancing, the dancers.
Now they know the 3 of us dance. All right.
All right. I want to turn to a subject we've talked about a lot, and we could go off on this one for a whole deal, and we will. We have
the restraint we just gave you with the banana one. Let's see what now you're gonna ask for more restraint.
It's your birthday, and you are tempting fate, buddy.
We are going to talk about the Ken Paxton impeachment for a bit because we have to do it every time we talk.
That's so July.
No, this is getting good, and we're headed into the deal. Okay, so we have this gag order that the lieutenant governor has put out, and Kyle's getting some advice to maybe tread very.
I got a table full of bananas.
You heard gag order.
Our team. I'm on standby.
I'm literally twitching. Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, the whole concept of a gag order in a normal case is so a potential jury panel, usually of like millions of people, don't get bad advice. And you said tainted.
So it was on a T, but yeah, it was good.
Shit thing.
So, but here we have a jury of 31, or is Miss Paxton, Senator Paxton, she's not allowed. So 30. Okay, they kind of know what's going on. It's not like they're going to be somehow newly prejudiced by hearing something they hadn't heard before. But be that as it may, they're in uncharted territory with this thing, and so I appreciate it. It's tough. But so the story is that everyone is actually doing everything they can to test the boundaries of the gag order.
Or what are they going to do?
That's
the thing. Is like, what's the consequence if you break it?
Well, apparently there's some thought that there's a fine and maybe some little jail time.
Can you get in jail for the contempt of the Senate?
I guess we'll find out.
Sergeant at arms.
How old is that guy?
He's probably
or woman.
He's probably 107. He shares a bunk with the chaplain.
So the House managers and their counsel, I think, according to the Texas Tribune, have been pretty quiet since the gag order came out. Paxton's team, maybe not so much. Former guest and friend of the show, Tony Busby, went on a Dallas radio show and mostly read from their recent filings, moving to dismiss verbatim, including that disparaged the case against Paxton and expressed doubts on the quality of evidence against him. There was a fundraising email from Mr. Paxton that allegedly castigated the illegal or trumped up impeachment. So all that's going on. It just, to me, it fits in this thing of like they are in uncharted waters, trying to do the best they can. But
I love it.
as I said, it's hard enough to keep good lawyers, good trial lawyers within the realm of like
Plain letter rules. Yeah, we got lines
And here we've got rules that just were come up with a month ago
that
after
weren't
like
they weren't even made by lawyers. I don't think. I think they were made by the like the Senate team.
yeah, they were in a retreat in like Austin and came up with stuff. And I'm sure they thought about it, but it's going to be tough. And it is going to be you talk about UFC fight. This is going to be the legal version of it.
But this is like UFC 1.
Well,
They had rules.
If you know, what was the offending language that was, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was the breach of the gag order that is getting the most attention? Because if he's just on there reading pleadings and some commentary on it,
I think that still violates. You're still making it's a public address
That's what
regarding the proceedings.
But my point about this is your jurors are not some members of the general public. They are, for the most part, Republican politicians who have been involved in this process, and they know, right? Like, which is kind of the bizarre part. We want you to come into this with an open mind. An open mind, this guy has been deeply involved in Texas politics for as long as, if not longer, than most of these senators. Like, they know the guy. They know what he's up to. They probably know every piece of evidence that's going to come out before it gets entered in front of the court. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, he could go out there and, short of threatening senators, which I understand he actually did.
I think he just threatened their.
for allies of him.
Yeah,
that's
reached out and said, if you vote for impeachment, you're done. You'll get primaried, which is fine. But like, short of that, I don't understand the. No, it's terrible.
Okay, I was about to say
it's bad. But my point is, short of that, are we worried that he's going to taint the jury pool? I mean, these people.
So I guess
know
they're worried
what they're going into.
If I'm a senator, I want the gag order because I don't want my constituents
Tracking you down.
beating my door down, trying to influence the way I vote before I even see any evidence. So I think that is why they want it. But I also think that something like this, to put a gag order in place, is I don't think that was the smart way to do it because everyone wants to know. And the fact that you put a gag order on it, it's just more secrecy. And a lot of people don't know what's going on in the first place and why it hasn't been done. But I did see that they picked up the prosecution. Ken was on. I saw recently that
He's got a new trial date.
Yeah.
Which is coming up.
Whenever.
I want to say like January. Is that crazy? That would be awesome to attend, in addition to the impeachment, which we're still trying to get tickets to.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to talk about that one every time. So we don't need to beat the dead horse just yet. All right. Next story, Bill. This kind of falls within some things you've talked about before. Multiple families who lost loved ones or people that were injured in the Harris County Jail have hired national lawyer, civil rights lawyer Ben Crump and local lawyer Paul Grinke. They filed suit as of Monday. It's 22 families. They allege that the county and the sheriff's office have deliberately neglected their custodial responsibility to keep people safe in jail. And there are, this has just been filed. Bill, are you a part of this? I guess your case is Fort Bend.
I have one against Harris. I have one against Fort Bend. And actually, I'm working with Fort Bend on mine right now. They're handling it in an extremely respectful way. But yeah, when you just look at purely the statistics of in custody deaths, I do not want to be sitting in Sheriff Gonzalez's shoes.
Yeah, that is
Or in his jail.
And if you're the commissioner's court, why on earth would you vote to pay and not just let this go to trial so that the world can see how bad these conditions really are and then be forced to pay tax dollars on it? I think that the way the case is framed, it's extremely hard to settle.
Huh. So that'll be interesting. I mean, it came out, it was kind of reported, but that could be a monumental thing. Now, how do you pay? How does the county pay for that?
To get paid, you work with the county attorney or
they recommend a settlement.
They recommend
to get approved
by the commissioner's court, and the commissioner's court short one right now. Lena took a leave of absence recently. Yeah, she's getting some treatment. Good for her.
Yeah, I had a case like that in.
But the problem is you can get the county attorney and negotiate a deal that they
And then the
they
court
say,
said-
yeah, they'll take it to the commissioner's court. Commissioner's court will turn it down.
Yeah.
Because they say, if I'm going to give taxpayer dollars out for politicians' mistakes, then I'm going to force me to do it by a court order. I'm not going to voluntarily vote in favor of it.
My firm a long time ago had a similar case, but it was a discrimination case, and our plaintiff was a cop. And it landed
Peace officer.
officer.
We back the blue here. We
And
back all the colors, but
our judge was a federal judge, and we worked on this case for years. And we got the attorney's office to the defendant's attorney's office. I guess it was the county attorney's office. This was not Harris County, to agree to a settlement.
oftentimes they'll outsource it to a firm.
And no, I think this guy was the actual city attorney or something, or county attorney. I don't remember. So I can't remember if it was sheriff's office or city PD. And then they went back on the deal. Like, they met at 10 o'clock at night, said, we're going back on the deal. And interestingly enough, the county attorney or the city attorney called us from his cell phone and said, we're backing out on the deal. We'll see you Monday for trial. And my co-counsel said, well, I have the judge's cell phone number. Let's call that judge and you can make that announcement to her, and then she'll know because she's about to go on vacation or something. And so he was like, okay, like he was being a tough guy. He was like, okay, I'll make that call. So at like 10 o'clock at night, we got this federal judge on the phone.
Boom.
And that federal judge had some very choice words for this long fought and negotiated settlement. And bizarrely enough, that county's commissioner's court decided to go back into session and approve the settlement. And so we, were able to announce settled the next morning.
I love a good angry federal judge who has the full power to comment on evidence.
Yeah.
All right. What I want to do, because we've got a special guest coming in next, so I want to hit a couple verdicts that have come down recently, and we can roundtable them. I'll list them all out, and then you can talk. Okay, the first one is Arnold Itkin has hit another, what is it, 10-figure, nine-figure verdict in Harris County, a case I was watching. I'm sure, Bill, you were. Kyle, I don't know if you're so busy, you don't have time to do that.
Busy doing other stuff.
I watched a lot of it. It was Roland Christensen and Kaj Boatwright and others from...
Kaj? I didn't know it was Cage or Kaj. I didn't know how you pronounce it.
Oh, I don't... Yeah.
I don't know. I've never met him.
So the story on that one was they represented a family of a guy that died. He had been hired to be a company man, for the oil company representative at a well site apparently in the Four Corners area, where this company, Terra Energy Partners, had bought a bunch of leases and hired him to go work on one of them. That area is known as being a hantavirus risk area because there are mice there that have it, and I'm sure they've tried to kill them.
Like field mice or West Texas field mice or something like that.
Yeah, and so apparently up there that is a known thing.
Yeah,
and this company came in, apparently didn't. There's all these protocols that are best practices or just reasonable practices. They didn't follow. He contracted hantavirus, got sick, went to the hospital, died within hours. And this was like apparently a guy married his college sweetheart and 3 kids and just was a great guy.
tough story.
And so that's one. As you guys know, when juries come back with $209 million verdicts, of which over 100 of it was punitives.
On a single death.
Yeah, people thought there was something, the defendant was doing something that needed to be, they needed to be told.
Yeah, that was
to change their practice. So that's out there. That one, I mean, that was obviously, we don't have, and Houston obviously has been having a lot of big verdicts, but that is a whopper. The Hilliard firm from Corpus tried a case against Walmart in Tyler.
That's an interesting case.
Arkansas native Scott Lacey was working as a subcontractor at a Walmart in Tyler and the Lawn and Garden Center when people asked for help because there was a shoplifter. He came out to try to help. Shoplifter ultimately hit him with his car. It was a $4.3 million verdict. I think the jury did not believe that Walmart staff were properly trained to deal with shoplifters, that brings up this kind of new dynamic we have in this country where, at least like in San Francisco and Portland, they're just telling people, their employees, if someone's shoplifting, just let them go.
Yeah, there's no risk management there.
Yeah. Now, Tyler, it's probably a different story, I would guess. But apparently,
I thought that was the Portland of Texas.
yeah, I don't know. I like Tyler, but at least the jury did not feel like Walmart had done a good job training their employees on how to deal with a situation like
I'm
that.
shocked that didn't go into like arbitration.
Well, he was a subcon. Yeah, you're right. Is Walmart a subscriber, Kyle, typically? Now, he's a subcontractor, not an employee.
So I've represented a couple of Walmart employees. One was a truck driver, I think, and some other folks. And they were all, in those cases, they were all non-subscribers with a vicious employment compensation policy.
All right, and so we'll give some defense lawyers a shout. Houston partner Philip Brinson,
Yes.
Nope.
friend of mine,
Used to work with this guy. Love this case.
and his senior counsel Delia Rivera achieved a favorable outcome for their clients at a week-long jury trial, premises liability case. Oh gosh, I can't remember which. It's Gordon and Reese.
Yeah, Gordon Reese, that's right.
And so they were representing. Oh God, it's one of the bars that is here that people. It's a popular bar, but this one was the version was in Midland. Plaintiff was a Canadian oil and gas executive.
So the verdict is the plaintiff got poured out.
Yes.
The complaint was a slip and fall while carrying beers.
So the plaintiff is celebrating his 61st birthday.
And what county?
This is Harris County was where it was tried. The case, the accident happened in Midland. I think it's, like I said, it's one of these popular bars that has
It's a weird
franchise.
FNC didn't kick in, or I guess wasn't it?
Probably alleged that management and all that.
What do you mean?
Headquartered out of here.
Forum non-convened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the punchline. So they pour him out. Guess the dude had a BAC because they did blood testing of 0.35,
325.
325.
which is not just intoxicated. That's unconscious.
Quadritoxicated. It's 4 times the legal limit.
And there was apparently evidence of like lifetime of alcohol abuse prior and continuing alcohol abuse
Oh yeah,
following.
he had a 325, was able to fall and then get back up for a second.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was walking in
He's a
325.
professional.
That is not a hobby.
Who are the plaintiff's lawyers, or do I even want to know?
It was the Bandis firm out of, I don't know where the lawyers are, but that firm is headquartered out of Corpus.
I mean,
That's a bad fact.
I would be real surprised if there are any universe of facts that can save that case from the plaintiff's perspective. I mean, a 0.35.
By a dram shop for over serving him.
True.
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose I suppose that's your tack as a plaintiff.
But I don't think that was alleged from anything I saw.
Is that I mean, that's got to be your tack as a plaintiff. If you got him this wasted, you're responsible for him. But that's the argument you got to make, because otherwise,
But to get to that level, that dude drank an independent fifth of vodka in his car.
couldn't have been just there. Because right, like those are facts as a defense lawyer. Like you literally roll the ball out there and you go, I don't know, guys. Like, do you even have to bring a toxicologist at that point?
If I'm the defense lawyer, I drink a bottle of Everclear, and then I see if you walk around the well,
100%.
and then I'm still at only a 0.31.
Yeah, get yourself a little like handheld intoxilizer.
Yeah, and
and just like fall over and be like,
Not
I'm
close.
0.2.
Yep.
I'm half as drunk as he was.
And I do this all the time.
All right,
We should never do that.
No, that's irresponsible.
we're gonna end this with a happy story.
Please.
So, world famous martial arts actor and Kyle Herbert doppelganger Chuck Norris.
No,
You said doppelganger.
Yeah. Has when he grows his beard really good and then he kind of trims it, he looks a lot like. And then when he strikes a fighting pose,
He's like a Charles Norris.
yeah.
Chunk Norris, maybe.
Yeah, Chuck Norris.
He sued CBS because he said he shortchanged them on, or they shortchanged him on Walker Texas Ranger.
They sued him. I thought the staff sued him.
Oh well.
Maybe I read that wrong. I thought
No, he said he was owed $30 million from
good for him.
CBS.
Hold on. What? Oh, are these like residuals or something? Because
Yeah.
Chuck Norris quit making television a long time ago.
I haven't seen.
It was like 40 million bucks.
Yeah, I mean,
small amount.
have you ever seen just flip channels and seen Walker Texas Ranger on?
No, people my age don't have cable.
Yeah.
Gosh, sure, old Pete.
But I grew up watching the Golden Girls.
Y'all use the antenna function on your?
Pete still has it saved on his TiVo.
Ah, true.
He's like, don't mess with the VHS player. It is set for timer.
I've got my levels the way they want.
It's I Love Lucy, then Golden Girls, and then Three Stooges, and I want them all.
I've got to give credit to the guy who was the Walker Texas lawyer. That may be before you.
No, I've seen
Yeah.
They have some YouTube clips.
Yeah, that guy was ahead of the game as far as advertising.
So what's the verdict? What happened to this?
They settled. They went to a very good mediator, I'm sure, and he got them all together to talk. And
That's the real moral of this story.
Those kind of mediators
Find
are
a-
just so rare.
So
yeah, I know.
Yeah, most of them are just assholes in sport coats.
Yeah,
have you
blue and pink. Yeah,
coming in?
Happy birthday.
Do you recall the Walker Texas Ranger clip with Haley Joel Osment,
no,
where like Haley Joel Osment, he's like an orphan, he's very young, and they're like
It's like
pre
Since
6 cents or post 6 cents, probably pre. Yeah.
he's like 7, and he's like an orphan, and they're trying to find him a family, and like Walker Texas Ranger helps him find a family, and then like the very last line of the whole show is Haley Joel Osment goes, "I'm glad I have a family, and Walker told me that I have AIDS," and then it like and then credits, and you're like,
That's real. That's not like some
100%.
I know what I'm getting tattooed on my back.
And then Walker
That
told me I had
direct
AIDS.
quote.
Josh is going to find that, or someone's going to find that. We're going to put that on because that's what a happy way to end.
A lot of people don't remember how ahead of its time Walker Texas Ranger was. I mean, tackling social issues and karate. I mean,
Moral of the story: keep your potassium, Amsterdam, and happy birthday, Peter.
Thank you, sir.
Pete.
All right, we covered a lot this week, so thanks for joining us. We will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us this week. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit our website at www.dirtyverdict.com. If you are interested in coming on as a guest or have a story idea, please email us at story@dirtyverdict.com.